Come with me as we travel to the Virgin Islands. For those who don't know, the Virgin Islands is a U.S. territory in the Caribbean. I caught an early morning flight out of Jacksonville to North Carolina with a brief layover and then to Miami, where we actually departed from. The Miami airport is by far one of my favorite. It's really large, modern, and the people are highly diverse. St. Thomas is about a 2-hour flight from Miami. This is my homeboy Ambo. We met in college, and although he went to high school in Metro Atlanta, he is originally from the Virgin Islands. He's here to get some paperwork for his move to Brazil, which I'll talk about a little bit later. A little bit more history about the Virgin Islands. The United States bought it from Denmark March 31st, 1917 for $25 million in gold coin. It was previously known as the Danish West Indies. It includes the St. Thomas, St. John, and St. Croix Islands. The U.S. acquired the territory during World War I for strategic military reasons. Washington was worried that Germany might seize neutral Denmark and then set up a marine base in the Caribbean to threaten U.S. shipping. The deepwater harbor at St. Thomas also offered an ideal location for a U.S. naval station to protect the newly opened Panama Canal. The two notorious islands owned by Jeffrey Epstein are just 2 miles off the coast of St. Thomas. The first one, Little St. James, was purchased by Epstein in 1998, and then Great St. James was purchased by Epstein in 2016. In 2023, both islands were bought for $60 million by a billionaire investor. His name is Stephen Deckoff. I had my room at the Blackbeard Castle in the Charlotte Amelia area of the St. Thomas Islands. It's home to 17th century European military history and Caribbean pirate folklore. Once we arrived, it was hard not to be taken away by the breathtaking view of the harbor and the countryside. A little bit more about the Blackbeard Resort. It's centered around Blackbeard's Castle, and it's one of only 5 natural historic landmarks in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Now, it was erected in 1679 by Danish colonists, and it was originally called Scotsborg. Built 40 feet tall at the highest point of Government Hill, allowing Danish soldiers to spot enemy ships from miles away. It gets its name because of local folklore surrounding the infamous pirate Edward Teach, otherwise known as Blackbeard, where they say he went up to the tallest tower in order to spot wealthy merchant ships entering the harbor in the early 1700s. I must admit, I was impressed with the room, full bathroom and kitchen with a studio-style bedroom, living room setup. It maintained a historical vibe while giving an amazing view of the harbor. What I found really cool is that they still had the cannons from the 17th century, back when it was a Danish military post. Just check them out right there. Ambo took me through the city, and I was surprised to learn that most people live in poverty and that central heating and air was not common outside of the tourist area. If you couldn't afford a window unit, you were probably rocking out with a fan. Being a kid with humble beginnings, I always want to see the ghetto or hood when I visit new places to see how it compares to what I'm used to seeing in America. Ambo took me to the housing projects where he was raised. The next thing we did was slide down to the harbor so I can get a better look at some of the yachts and the boats that were in the marina. They even had a cool little rooftop bar and restaurant where a lot of people were already congregating at. Next, we headed to Redhook, a vibrant, bustling coastal town located on the east end of St. Thomas. It serves as the primary maritime gateway, commercial hub, and nightlife capital of the island. If Charlotte Amelia is the island's historical heart, Redhook is definitely the energetic social center. We stopped at this fresh and healthy spot where Ambo got a smoothie and I got an acai bowl. Next, we slid to Cookie Point where we can enjoy our meal. I could check the charts and take in this beautiful view. I mean, the water is so clear. Although the views were quite beautiful, we decided to pack up and hit a different side of the beach. Cookie Point is legendary for its crystal clear cobalt blue waters and incredibly calm surf. The reef life begins just a few feet from the shore, making it the premier spot on the island for beginning snorkelers and scuba divers. This area features a vibrant party-like atmosphere heavily driven by local culture. Not only can you rent umbrellas, beach chairs, float mats, and snorkeling gear right on the spot, reggae and soca music usually drift across the beach from local bars. A bustling boardwalk line of colorful shacks sit right on the sand, selling local dishes, Caribbean food, tropical cocktails, and even deep fried Oreos. I had the fried mahi-mahi, and man, was it delicious. We jumped in the water for a quick dip before heading to the mall. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't too impressed with this mall. Regular products, sky-high prices, you know, your natural tourist trap, but I needed a tripod, so we came up here. The view is so beautiful, I had to take advantage of the opportunity to shoot some great content. As the sun began to set, you can see this enormous Caribbean cruise ship docking in the harbor. When I say the Blackbeard Resort had some of the best views of the countryside and the marina, please believe me. As darkness came over the island, we sat back, enjoyed the views, and we talked about what the next 5 to 10 years of our lives might look like. The next morning, before I headed to the airport, I cut some dope content and interviewed Ambo about his upcoming move to Brazil. He gave his views on the current economic and geopolitical climate of the world, what he predicts for the future of America, and why he advised me and anybody else to move abroad while we still can. That interview will be released on the all-new Dropping Jewels YouTube podcast channel, so be on the lookout. We recorded for a little over an hour before heading to the airport. I bought a bottle the night before, but with how expensive that alcohol was, I was not about to throw it away, so I finished the remaining half a bottle right before I entered the airport. Because this is a relatively small airport, TSA was not that bad, believe it or not. Like all airports, they have a variety of different stores, jewelry boutiques, and cosmetic areas to try to get you to spend that last dollar before you leave. It didn't take me that long at all to find a bar where I enjoyed a couple more drinks before boarding our flight, so that way I know I could sleep all the way back to the mainland. One thing that I can say I like about this airport is because it's so small, they don't have the extension terminals, and most flights that you get on and off of, it almost feels like you're getting on and off a private jet. Well guys, that was my trip to the Virgin Islands. I really enjoyed it. If you are looking for a Caribbean vibe but you don't have a passport, the Bahamas and or the Virgin Islands are both spots that I highly recommend. 10 out of 10. For more travel content and to see where we visit next, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channels and be on the lookout for our next video.